Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Israel Update. Doobie and I are here with you again as we are every Friday. Doob, Shalom.
Shalom, shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
And so what we're going to do again this week is we're going to start off with a really beautiful moment with Kim in Israel. We spoke about it a little bit last week, just this incredible night in life, which was the Tower of David, Israel is Forever concert that we had with Kim in 2011. Such a beautiful time. So we're going to go to that video, and then Doobie and I are going to talk about what's going on in Israel and teach on Psalm 46 together. But for now, let's go to this moment with Kim.
I gathered you together. I gathered you when the nations went to wipe you away. Oh, Israel, I gathered you together. I may hear your voice while the nations cry out, let's take them away. Make us one. Make us one. Everybody sing it. Make us one. Make us one. I hear you singing. Let the earth hear it now. Make us I hear you sing it. That note I taught you. When you hit one, I want you to say, make us. Take a deep breath and do it again in harmony. So beautiful.
Well, dudes, what a night that was for all of us.
Yes, so many tangible moments and just beautiful spirit that was hovering all over Jerusalem at that time.
That's
To
so true.
hear to hear Kim sing in Jerusalem, it's just unbelievable, and
It's
it really
beautiful.
really went into the hearts of everybody.
Yeah, and we're going to keep showing you guys more of these moments. Just again, God commands us constantly in the scripture, remember, remember, remember. And so we are remembering together the good things that happened and trusting God that more good things will come. But there's just two things we want to talk about what's going on in Israel right now before Doobie and I jump into Psalm 46. So Doobs, first things first, there's been some protests taking place in Israel. As we know, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on with that?
Well, it's been even before the current government was elected that there were so many people protesting against Bibi Netanyahu in general that they didn't want to see him returning to the crown, literally returning to be the leader of Israel. And this was already in existence, so it wasn't very hard incite the people now that he's in position to try and say and claim that they have kind of illegally took the elections, and they're trying to just intimidate and throw fear around about what this right-wing government is going to do. The only thing that is going on is that Israel wants to become, now with the new government, want to become a place where the voters has more voice, and the voters and the will of the public had to be heard and also felt. And what was happening for years in Israel is that the left wing, they knew how to target, for example, the legal system in Israel, the financial system in Israel. And then they were controlling everything in terms of the fact that even if there is a right-wing government and they want to make a good law for everybody, the court, which is usually more lefty, they can just overrule all that. And that's the story. And they are able to get so many, with their influence in the media, they're getting so many people, thousands of people protesting, targeting personally the members of Knesset from the Likud, chasing them, like really persecuting them everywhere they are. And they don't let the government govern, and it's causing huge damages to Israel now in the international arena. Because a lot of these people, they control some financial institutions. Many of them are in the legal system, and they're going around the world, spreading rumors of civil wars in Israel. We just seen that a high delegate from the Emirates, the United Arab Emirates, came here to meet with the president and with Bibi Netanyahu, saying that they're worried about their investments in Israel. They don't know what's going to happen. On this Thursday, literally the Ramadan started in Israel, so there's a lot of incitement around the Muslim world now towards the Arabs to try and use the opportunity that the Israeli society is almost torn from within, and to start doing all kinds of different terror acts. So we're looking into a situation now where prayers are much needed.
It's time to pray. Yes, it's so true. And like Doobie's saying, it's Ramadan. It's always an intense part of the year when that happens, historically throughout Israel. But I'm actually going to go straight into Psalm 46 because this is, I think, very applicable to what Doobie's talking about. So I'm going to read it through, talk about it a little bit, and Doobie's going to jump in. We're just going to be a couple minutes with you guys, like always. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth gives way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though the waters roar and foam and the mountains quake with their surging. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her, she will not fall. God will help her at break of day. Nations are in uproar, kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice, the earth melts. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come and see the works of the Lord, the desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. Verse 10, be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. And what I love about this psalm, it was from the sons of Korah and it was obviously something that was sung, as the Psalms are Tehillim. It's something that's sung. God is our refuge and our strength. And it speaks about how he's an ever-present help in trouble, which shows us there's a presupposition here by the author that there will be trouble. Because there's trouble, it doesn't mean that God's abandoned us or that we're doing something wrong. Trouble is bound to happen in this life that we're living, in this earth that we're living in a fallen state. And it speaks about how we will not fear. Now, it wouldn't say, therefore, we will not fear unless there was an opportunity to be fearful. So trouble is a definite. The chance to be fearful is a definite. But in all of this, we know that God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. And it continues to talk about how mountains fall into the heart of the sea, and the rivers are raging, and the seas are raging, and the mountains are quaking, and all of these things are happening. But the theme of the psalm is that God is present and God is in control. And, obviously I love that it speaks about how the city of God is the place where the Most High dwells. And we know, those of you that have been with us for a long time know we've been, to the Wailing Wall to where the temple stood, where that stupid dome is now. That's where the first and second temples stood. This is where the presence of God was shown on the earth. And there's nothing and nowhere like that place on earth. Still to this day, the fact that the wall remained through all of the wars that happened, these bits of the wall stood, and it's the place where God dwelt. And even now, it's speaking about this thousands of years ago, about how the nations are in uproar. The nations are still in uproar. Paris is busy burning. Look around, everywhere we look, the Ukraine and Russia are still fighting. There's wars all around. The nations are in uproar, but God. Things in the American economy might seem insane. Israel's facing its own troubles all around the world. South Africa is going through some very, very big problems, but God. And that's the theme we keep coming back to, but God. And there's a verse that we quote all the time: be still and know that I am God. Sometimes that's all we can do. And that's what the shalom is. That's what the all-encompassing peace is that Paul speaks about to us in Philippians, about how there's a peace that goes beyond understanding. It goes beyond our cognitive reasoning, our ability to reason things through. There's a peace that comes that's bigger than everything we see. It's a peace that's unreasonable and doesn't make sense, but it's the Prince of Peace. It's God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Because of him, we have this peace. And I love how it ends again. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. And a fortress speaks of something walled in, something secure, something high up, something that is able to protect in times of trouble. You don't need a fortress unless you're going to have a war. You need that fortress because trouble is here. And so this is just a psalm that I've always loved, and about how he's able to do anything. He's still the same. Everything he did for Israel throughout the Old Testament, he's the same God who's working. And the God of Jacob is indeed our fortress. Doobs, feel free to jump in with anything you think about this psalm. It's one of my favorites.
Well, it's a good reason that is one of your favorite, because we always remember when Kim used to say his, I think, immortal verse, it's not the end of time, but it's the end times.
Yes.
And this psalm is literally some kind of according to the Jewish teachings and Rashi, it's one of the most, I would say, prophetic psalms because it's speaking about the Gog and Magog. It's speaking about the Armageddon. It's speaking about the times of tribulations and the times of when the earthquakes and tsunamis. And that's the. By the way, that's an amazing description of tsunami. When there are earthquakes and mountains are falling, earthquakes within the oceans and mountains are falling within the ocean, then murky, muddy waters are flashing throughout the earth and just washing everything around it. And we remember when Jesus was speaking about wars and rumors of wars and fires and earthquakes. So we know from this psalm that the sons of Korah, more than anybody else that experienced the miracle, were literally, according to the Jewish teachings, when the earth opened up and the Korach and his gang went down the earth, the sons of Korach were hovering in the air. Literally, God saved them, held them just before, and then the earth closed down, and they were laying down on safe shores, if you can call it this way. They've experienced this miracle, and what they're doing here in this psalm, they're describing to the people of the world that we know for sure, just like it happened in the past, these situations are going to happen towards the end times, towards rapture, towards the Gog and Magog, Armageddon. But don't you worry, the Lord God of Jacob, and that's the name that's the ultimate name in the Judaism, the God of Jacob. So there's God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But when you say the God of Jacob, you mean the God of Israel, because Jacob's name was changed into Israel. And that's the promise to Israel and those who loves Israel and everybody who calls themselves Israel and feels parts of Israel, they'll be saved from this situation. So they'll be human beings, they'll be individuals. They're not going to go through this, and they're not going to survive it. But the people of Israel, it's a promise that Israel will always exist. Jerusalem will be always the city. There'll be a river of living water bursting from the Temple Mount, and the streams are going to make God happy and the people of God happy. They will nourish the earth. So the nations will topple and countries will be wiped out and situations will be more and more severe. Like even what we're seeing going on around us right now, even within the society. But those who puts their trust in God, they'll have the 3 stages of security. There's one stage, which is the barrier. It's called choma, a wall that we mentioned in this psalm. And this wall will prevent the evil, the harms to even reach the people. But then we know that even if people will be affected by that situations, God still will give them the strength and the power to overcome this. And we know that the third wall of protection that comes forth from this prophecy is even those that will be not only lightly affected, but even severely affected, God can even still intervene from within and can clear the situation for them and return them to safe shores and to safety. So God has a whole array, iron dome, godly dome of protection around the believers, about those who trust him and call him the God of Jacob. And that's what we have to take in. This is what we need to adopt for our own heart, to be one. Unity, like you just said, that the feeling that we felt when Kim was singing, to be one with the God of Jacob. And that's our safety and our, I would say, security policy to make it in this world, even though everything around us is going into a crazy array.
Beautiful. Doobs, thank you. I love your insight. I always do. I'm having such a good time doing this with you. But everybody out there, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be here again next week. As always, we're doing these moments with Kim, going through Psalms together and bringing you the latest breaking news out of Israel. We love you. We're grateful for your support. Go, Doobs.
And please, just real quick, by the way, we just started delivering the food packages to the families of the soldiers. So if there's a possibility, please to show them a little bit of the footage. We just started to deliver it to the homes of the people that needs it. Thank you, and thank you for your support.
God bless you guys, and we'll see you next week on Israel Update.